Good evening once again. I'm Stephanie Ruhle. We begin this evening with the scope of the special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into Donald Trump and new signs that it is still growing. The latest revelation that investigators executed a search warrant of Donald Trump's Twitter account and the company had to be held in contempt by a federal judge before handing over the material. Here's one former prosecutor on the kind of evidence that they must have been looking for.
The Twitter files that the Justice Department wants to retrieve clearly relate to that time period right around the election. All of those materials could be relevant. It's fairly typical for prosecutors to obtain social media from the platforms like Twitter, like Facebook, and others. I think the only reason this is getting so much attention is that they resisted in this case, and it had to go to the appeals court to get timely compliance. But clearly, there is evidence here that is important to Jack Smith and the investigators. And so I'm sure we'll see pieces of that during the trial.
That's right. Twitter, Elon Musk, resisted, and the company was fined $350,000 for delaying the execution of that search warrant. We're also still learning more on the previously secret memo laying out a plan and a roadmap for the fake elector scheme that was to overturn the 2020 election.
There's a lot in this memo, and I think what the memo really does here is to contextualize all of the events that we've been getting, with the trickle of events, first from the January 6th subcommittee, but then again from this indictment. And it makes clear that this was an effort, an effort that they knew was false, to basically defraud the American public as to how the election was conducted, and ultimately to delay the counting of the votes, prompting this to go to the United States Supreme Court, thereby compromising any victory that Joe Biden might claim.
Meanwhile, all eyes are on the court schedule in the classified documents case in Florida. Trump co-defendants Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira are scheduled for arraignment tomorrow, despite the fact that de Oliveira has said he cannot find a defense attorney, a claim that a whole lot of Florida lawyers see as just another delay tactic. And while Trump is not scheduled to appear, his lawyers are still filing motions. Most recently, they asked that the government reestablish a sensitive compartmented information facility. You know what that is, a SCIF. They want a SCIF at Mar-a-Lago so Trump can view sensitive discovery materials in his home. So let me just make this clear for you. In a criminal case accusing the former president of illegally keeping classified documents at his Palm Beach club, he now wants special permission to view those classified documents at the alleged scene of the crime. And one more time, Trump and his allies keep arguing that there are two justice systems in this country. Well, by asking for this special treatment, he is asking for special treatment. And he is saying there are two systems, and he wants to be part of the good one. Finally, as we expect to get a charging decision In Georgia next week, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution says indictments could focus on efforts to target some of the regular people that are at the heart of this case.
We've seen people, including Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, also testified about exactly as they did to the January 6th committee, about just the incredible effect, the incredibly damaging effect all of this had on them and their personal lives, their personal safety, receiving multiple death threats, and they were far from the only ones.